Welcome to the 116th episode of the So Video Games Podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If we are playing it, we will be talking about it. Today we are recording on January 28th, 2019. My name is Brad Galloway. I am the editor of GameCritics.com, and I am 50% of this here show. With me, as always, Corey Motley, staff writer at Game Critics. How are you, Corey?
Brad, we are like two speeding bullets today.
We certainly are. Are we heading towards each other on a railroad track from opposite directions? And what time are we supposed to meet in Chattanooga? Is it one of those math questions?
No, absolutely not. This is more like I was going to say that we're like going the same direction, but when you mentioned that, I started thinking about the movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie where they like curve the bullets. Now I'm thinking about that.
I have never seen that movie, but I know they made a crappy game about that where I got to that game and I tried to get to the part where you did curve the bullets, and I don't think I even got that far. I don't remember what happened.
I actually didn't mind that game, even though I understand it was like short. I'm pretty sure it took like 2 hours to beat, which at the time was like an uproar in the gaming community because there was no game that was shorter than like 7 hours. But it was like a tight, compact, little third-person shooter. Didn't really have a lot of bells and whistles. It was just like, all right, you're going to run through some levels and shoot some dudes. And like it knew what it wanted to be, and it was that, and it looked good for the time. I feel similarly about, this is another licensed one, the James Bond Bloodstone game that came out that was like not based on a movie. I feel very similarly about that game. It's like short, but it just works. It's not special, but it's perfectly fine. So I guess, I don't know, third-person shooters based on movies are up my alley or something like that.
Well, look at that. The show hasn't even begun. We've already talked about 2 games. We are on fucking fire today,
God.
Folks. Look at that.
Watch out for the timestamps for those games in the show notes.
That is right. It's going to be a timestamp of like 15 seconds. Get to it. Listen in. All right, folks. Before we jump into games chat proper, just a real quick reminder that our usual banter section comes after the show. If you want to hear more from us, that's not necessarily game-related, although I do think games do come up.
It was a tiny bit, yeah.
A tiny bit, a little bit. Stay tuned after the closing music for extra content. And just a heads up, today's a little bit shorter than usual because I think we're on a bit of a time crunch. I think we both have been drinking coffee and doing speed before the show, so we're going to just power through this episode. Speaking of powering through, let's get right to it. No more wasting time. The games chat. Today, Corey, we are starting off with a bang. The biggest thing going on in games right now, I think, probably by a mile, Resident Evil 2, the remake. It's not necessarily titled the remake, just called Resident Evil 2, but it's the remake of the original Resident Evil 2. The new Resident Evil 2 just came out. You have already deemed it Game of the Year 2019. Would you care to talk to us about what you have seen, what you've played, what you've experienced? Please tell us a little bit about your time in Raccoon City, sir.
I would love to. So I think I talked about in the last Banter section on the show that I actually ordered this game, but I was going out of town over the weekend. So on Thursday night into Friday morning, I was able to play it for about 45 minutes before I got to, before I had to like pack to get ready to leave and stuff and, go to bed and all that good stuff. And then I got back into town tomorrow and I played it. I pretty much like got home and like put everything I needed to do off immediately and just like took a shower and then sat down and played it for about 3 hours straight, I would say, last night. So I like really kind of like dug into it, and it is so good. It is everything I wanted in the Resident Evil 2 remake. So at the beginning, much like in the PlayStation 1 version, you choose if you want to play as Leon or Claire first. And I went with Leon first. I think it does the same thing that it does from the PlayStation 1, where you play like one of their scenario A's, and then you unlock the scenario B, and you can play as the other person from scenario B. I'm assuming that the campaigns will be probably a lot more different than scenario A and B were in the original, because I feel like that's something that Capcom would do, but I can't comment on that yet because I haven't beat it or anything. But
I have comments on this later.
Do you? Oh, do you want to comment now or later?
No, later.
Okay. So I am about 4 hours in, maybe 3.5 to 4 hours in. The thing I love about this game is that anytime you press pause, there is a clock in the upper right-hand corner that tells you exactly how long you've been playing, and every fucking game on the planet needs to have this because I like knowing how long I've been playing games, and also whenever I review them for Game Critics, we have to know how long we've been playing them. And sometimes I'm not the best at keeping track of how long I've been playing games, but Resident Evil 2 does it for me. I'm gonna try, even though, like, I don't want to spoil the game, so I'm gonna try to, like, walk on eggshells a little bit with this.
Yeah. Still pretty new. Let's not spoil anything.
But I mean, it's kind of weird though, because like nothing happens that doesn't really happen in the old one, and it's like 20 years old, but I still like don't want to spoil it. So I would wager that I'm probably about halfway through the game or so, or halfway through Leon's Scenario A, if you will. And this game, it's just like the remake of the first Resident Evil that launched on GameCube and they got ported to 360 and then to PS3 and Xbox One. It's basically on like every system now. Because it takes everything that you knew and loved about the original campaign and it just like switches things up the slightest amount so that you still remember everything, but it's not so comfortable that you feel like you can just breeze through remembering everything you knew from the original version. Because, like, for example, in this one, like, one of the big sort of, in the PS1 version, I mean, one of kind of like the big opening surprises is your first encounter with a liquor. And, like, a liquor, this was the first time it was in Resident Evil, and it's like this gross, like, kind of like clawed, like, quadrupedal like muscle thing that has this like long tongue and its like brain is exposed and like they're really gross looking, and that comes along pretty early in the game whenever you play it on the PlayStation 1 version, which again came out in like 1998 or whatever. It's really old. But the liquor encounter is not the same, and I'm not going to say where it is in the new version because I don't want to spoil it, but I will say that last night I got to the first liquor encounter, which is like a couple of hours into the game, because in the first one it's like maybe like 30 to 45 minutes in. This one takes a little bit longer, so it like builds up some more, I guess, like tension before you get there. And the first liquor encounter in the remake is genius, and I'm not going to say why, but it is so well planned, just like with the environment and with everything going on, that I was really impressed with it. And also, later in the game, I've gotten to the point where the like zombie dogs come up because they're in this game as well. And the game does some really creative and really scary stuff with the zombie dogs, because I'm not going to say like where certain things happen, but I will just say that I was walking in a room being all scared. I thought zombie dogs were going to come from one direction, and they came from a different direction and like burst through a vent somewhere, and I said the word fuck very loud in my house last night. I often curse when I play this game because it's not like super duper scary, but it does a really fantastic job of like kind of like making you want to make every shot count, because you don't have a super duper limited amount of ammo. Like I would say in any given situation I have between like maybe like 20 and 40 pistol rounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're careful when you fight zombies, you can drop them. I mean, sometimes you get a one-hit critical hit and it'll like blow up their head, which is like every time I get one of those, like a single tear falls down my cheek because that's only one bullet. And like
in slow motion with like 80 cent pop in the background.
And it's like, and every time that happens, you know that like the zombie's not going to get back up. But sometimes it'll take like 3 headshots, and we talked about this with the demo a couple weeks ago. Like sometimes it'll take like 3 headshots to bring one down, but sometimes there's like a handful, and the game doesn't like it's not like any kind of like special zombie, but every once in a while there's ones that will take probably like 5 or 6 headshots. And like on one hand, I kind of understand why that would like frustrate people, because I could totally see people playing this game and like not being careful with their ammo and then just like running out of ammo and like kind of having to run. But the good news is that you don't have to fight everything. I mean, it's often, if you're not in close quarters, it's usually a good idea to run. But like if you're careful with your bullets, you can kill just about every zombie and like pretty much like know that it's going to be down. But the thing that really creeps me out about this game is that no matter how long you play the game, like I'm like 3.5 hours in, 4 hours in, something like that. If I go through any hallway in the police station, like every zombie that I have killed is still on the ground. Like they don't disappear or they don't disintegrate or they don't like turn into like the Crimson Head zombies like was in the GameCube Resident Evil Remake, which were terrifying, by the way.
Hated it.
Yeah, hated it. I mean, I hated it too, but in like such a good way. They just like stay on the ground, and every time I could walk past a zombie like 50 times, and every time I like look down and I like aim my gun at it because I'm like, all right, you fucker, I know you're gonna get up one of these times, like I know it's gonna happen. But usually they don't, which is good, because if it were Dead Space, every zombie would get back up every time you walk by.
Literally everyone.
Literally
yeah,
everyone.
seriously.
Yeah. So like I like that the fact that the game is paced in such a way that it like really, it's not like in your face about what it's doing. It's often really quiet, and I play it with headphones on because I'm a maniac, and like the sound design is like impeccable in this game. Like any room you're in, you can just like hear little things in the background, and like you think like maybe something's in here, and basically like based on the sound design alone, I kind of feel like at any given moment a zombie could just come like bursting through a wall or like fall through some fucking ceiling tiles. Like there was a part last night where I was walking around an area that had a staircase in it, and I heard some like, you know, some like shamblings, and I was like, okay, this is like really good audio. And I'm like pointing my flashlight and gun around, and I like don't know what's going on because I don't think anything is around me. It's a hallway I've been through like 15 times. And I'm like looking around, and a fucking zombie falls down the balcony from the stairs above me and just like lands on the floor right in front of me. It scared the hell out of me. It was such a, and I don't think it was like scripted or anything. I think it just like happened. And that's what I love about this game, is that a lot of it feels really, it's like organically scary. It's not like in your face. It's not trying to like prove a lot with scripted segments. I mean, there is some scripted stuff in it, but it's just like a lot of it is like really organic, and it's, the environment is so creepy. The sound design is really incredible. It's like just familiar enough where you kind of feel like you know what you're doing, but it also like turns a lot of stuff that you remember from the original on its head, and it's just like super impeccable. And I got to the part where Mr. X comes in the game, and for those who are familiar with Mr. X from the original game, he was sort of like the main bad guy in Scenario B in the original Resident Evil 2. He's basically like this really tall, like gray, muscular dude who wears this like bitchin' trench coat, and he like had a bunch of scripted moments in the original game where you would just be like running through a room, and then he would like crash through a wall, and he like walks slow so you could run away from him, but if he punches you like a couple times, you're basically toast. Well, in the new version of Resident Evil 2, he kind of does the same thing where he just like shows up and he's really scary and he like walks slow and he kind of stalks you. But the like added layer of scariness about his presence in Resident Evil 2 Remake is that he's like, at a certain point in the game when he gets introduced, he's sort of like perpetually stalking the entire police station. So like you have to kind of like constantly be like listening for his like loud, like plodding footsteps, because he can basically show up anywhere, but he never really like surprises you, because you can like hear him coming. Like if you're listening to the game, like you can hear him coming, but it just...
So wait, question then.
Yes.
What if you can't hear him? Is there any visual cue at all, or is there something in the options?
There, not that I know of. So hard of hearing players, this is probably not good for you. I mean,
all right.
I don't think anything on the screen shows you any like threats. There's no like threat ring, or there's no like visual cues or anything that I know of.
Okay.
So that is a bummer. I know we do like to highlight that kind of stuff on the show, so, and at Game Critics in general. And as far as I know, there's no visual cues, but I mean, if you're playing the game and you are using headphones, or even if you're just playing with the sound on your TV and you're capable of hearing, just like hearing his footsteps in the environment is like incredibly terrifying, because like, you know, he's like maybe one or two hallways like away from you, or sometimes he'll just like throw a door open and be right there. But the nice thing is that he doesn't run. So like, even if he's in the same room you're in, you can usually like run away from him and get away from him. Like you're not forced into combat every time he shows up, but just like knowing that he's sort of like perpetually patrolling the area kind of around the police station just adds this like layer of fear, I guess, to like exploration. Because now I like just like want to run my ass off around the police station and try to like get everywhere as quick as I can. And I've caught myself in a few moments where I'm trying to like dash through these rooms, and the lickers in the game are incredibly lethal, and they operate by sound, much like they do in Resident Evil 5. So if you're loud around them, they will like leap off the wall and like claw your ass off, or they'll like use their tongue and like, you know, lick you, I guess, like and harm you. And they're also really hard to kill. Like the lickers, I've shot one like 4 times with a shotgun and it has not died. So you're kind of like better off just like sneaking around them or trying to run from them if you can get away from them fast enough. So when Mr. X is stalking you, it like puts you at odds with everything else in the environment because like you want to be quiet, because I think if you shoot your guns a lot, he starts to like zero in on your location. So like you want to be quiet, but you also like want to run through the police station because you like don't want to be caught close to him anywhere. So it just like the whole game is just it's really like impeccably designed so far, and it sets up like just this wonderful atmosphere that like I remembered from the original, but it just like tweaks it in certain ways that really make it feel special. And it's the first game in a while that like when I'm at work during the day, like I just can't. I'm thinking about how I can't wait to come home and play it whenever I get home, or like when the sun goes down. I can't wait to turn all the lights off in my house and put my headphones on and pull my couch up close to the TV and play it. And I just like I don't feel that often about games like this sort of like, I don't know, overwhelming desire to just like really want to get back to it and play it. I mean, a lot of games, even if I enjoy them, I'm not like dying to get back to them. But Resident Evil 2 so far is hitting all the right notes for me. It's pretty much everything I wanted it to be. I don't have a lot of complaints. I will probably update later whenever, I play it more, whenever I beat it, or maybe I can do like a spoiler section on a different show down the line. But those are my thoughts of the first few hours. I'm really happy with it so far. I mean, I guess it's sort of like the best game I've played this year, but it's also the worst game I played this year because it's the only game I played this year, so it has that going for it. But I just talked for a shitload of time. So I know you had something you wanted to say about scenario A and B earlier, but also you can dump any questions or thoughts you have on me, and I can try to address them as necessary.
I mean, just a couple of things. I mean, I kind of am leaning towards playing it because I do really have a lot of fond memories of it from back in the day. And I did, I played the shit out of it. I mentioned on an earlier episode, I did like literally every single thing you could possibly do in that game back in the day. So I was like, probably not going to go to those lengths this time around. And I'm definitely way more chicken shit these days. I don't have the wherewithal to get through it as easily as I did back when I was a young buck. But leaning towards playing it, not super high priority, but I think that probably I'll try to get it from GameFly or something, and I'll have it on hand for when I get a slow point. So I'm curious to hear all your thoughts and all that. One thing that I am really kind of concerned though about the difficulty of the zombies. Are you on normal or easy, or what are you playing on?
I was just going to say this because I remember this whenever you were talking about how you wanted to play it and some of the stuff you said last week. I'm playing on normal mode. I can't remember how many difficulty levels there were to pick from at the beginning, but there is, I think they call it an assisted mode, and it's kind of like in Devil May Cry. Like, you can select it from the beginning, but if you die a certain amount of times, and I have died a certain amount of times, like the game, before it loads up your checkpoint, it'll be like, do you want to switch to assist mode? And I'm like, well, first of all, fuck off. And second of all, like, yeah, maybe I suck right here, but I think I'm doing okay. Because I died like 5 times in a row by a licker earlier in the game. And so there is like, if you're someone who's kind of like cautious about ammo or about the difficulty level, they do have an assisted mode where I think it like implements auto aiming, and it makes I think you regenerate a certain amount of health, and the enemies are weaker and they go down with less bullets, I think, are some of the parameters. So that would be incredibly helpful for people who maybe aren't as into sort of like more of an old school type of game design. So I like that they implemented that. And even if you choose normal or hard or whatever, if you die, like, I think it's probably like 3 times in the game, it asks you if you want to pull the difficulty back. But keep in mind, the game warns you, if you pull it back, you cannot switch it for the rest of the game. So you can only go easy for the rest of the game, for the rest of the way out. But I'm sure if you switch it to easy, you probably wouldn't want to switch it back to normal. I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, it at least gives you the option, and it gives you the option mid-game to change it, which I think is really helpful.
I do appreciate that. I'm going to talk about this with one of the games we're going to be discussing later in the show. But I really, really appreciate this more common occurrence these days of people not just giving you like easy, normal, hard, but also like, extra stuff to really, get you into the game and just take the dick measuring part out of it and just, realize, yeah, I probably would enjoy playing this game, but I don't want to like struggle too much through it, or it's not the kind of game that I really want to like break myself on, like I would rather just kind of breeze through it and maybe save my hardcore efforts for something else that's a different genre that I like more or something. So I like that they offer that. That sounds really cool. I had a pretty... I talked about this with Dan Weissenberger, who reviewed the game for Game Critics, and he had a pretty good perspective on it. I mean, he was saying that the zombies that take like 6 headshots or whatever. I mean, number one, that's ridiculous because you can take a human being and shoot them in the head, and like so much of the head will be gone after just one bullet. Like they're non-functional. And for a zombie, okay, see, this is kind of weird. Okay, side note, just real sidebar here, dude. Like whenever you see a zombie movie or something, it's always weird to me because zombies are just people, but they are rotten and they are decomposed and they are weaker. It's not like being a zombie makes you super strong. I mean, maybe they don't have pain receptors, so maybe that's one reason why they keep coming and don't stop. But it's not like a bone with like 3 pieces of sinew on it is somehow stronger than a guy who's fit and in good shape, right? So like it's always weird to me that like people kind of like have this in movies and stuff, like zombies are also kind of seen like strong enough to break down these things. And oh, sure, if there's 1,000 of them outside your door, yeah, but like in general, realistically, I know zombies are not real. Don't email me. Don't at me. But like realistically, a normal person should be able to kick the shit out of a zombie because they are just a dead, decomposed, weaker, degraded human being. They are not super strong. So kind of following that line of thought, a zombie's brain and its skull should be weaker, should be decomposed. If you blow it away, I mean, like 1 bullet should shatter that motherfucker. And I get that it's a game. But, I mean, 6 bullets to me sounds really excessive. And Dan was thinking that, like, oh, you know, that's their way of telling you don't kill everybody and run around. They want you to run and be scared more. And it's trying to put, like, the survival back into it. But I don't know, man. I mean, I know you're down with it. But, I mean, and I haven't played the game yet. But just thinking about all the recent zombie games I've played and how people have really, really approached that content in different ways over the last couple of years. Just the thought of a zombie taking that many bullets and you not being able to, like... I mean, there's no, like, head stomp or anything on the ground, right? You can't do anything to follow up attack or anything like that.
Well, if you have the knife as a sub-weapon, you can do, like, it's basically like the old ones where you can equip it and kind of, like, slash them while they're on the ground. There's no, like, head stomp or anything, but you can, like, if you have a knife, and the knives, they, like, degrade over time, but I generally have, like, 3 spares in the chest, and they don't degrade super fast. So, like, you can follow up with knife attacks while they're down, but there's no like one-hit head stomp thing or like Resident Evil 4 like suplexes or anything like that.
All right. Well, do you feel like Dan's kind of on the mark with that? Like, do you feel like that those zombies take so much damage or that the monsters take so much damage because, you know, like are they trying to really nail it through that, you know, you're not supposed to kill everything, you're not supposed to clear out every room? I mean, is that kind of your sense of it?
Well, I feel like, I mean, I agree with that a little bit. Like, I mean, the game doesn't like, you know, like tell you that you have to, you know, like kill everything or whatever. And I mean, it's kind of encouraged, like if you don't have to kill anything, like maybe you should not. But I mean, I feel like the whole like zombies that take a lot of hits, it's just a good like sort of like way to ratchet up the tension every once in a while. And like, to be frank, I mean, every probably like, I don't know, like 10th zombie I kill takes more than, you know, I mean, most of them take between like 1 and 3 headshots to die, which I mean, maybe that sounds like too many to a lot of people. But if you're careful with aiming and if you can like kind of look at the zombies like movement patterns, and it's not so bad. But you can also like shoot them in the legs, like in the old ones, and they'll kind of go down. You can swipe them with a knife, or you can shoot them in the head while they're on the ground, and that makes it a little bit easier. But I mean, the 6-shot zombies aren't like all over the place all the time, so it's kind of just like I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're like permanently placed on the map or if it like adjusts difficulty as you're playing, because I kind of like those scenarios where I shoot a zombie like 3 times and it doesn't go down, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? And it's like, it's just like a good like moment of like cold sweat, like in the moment. It hasn't gotten old or irritating to me yet. The lickers are a little bit irritating because they're really deadly and they take a lot of bullets to kill. But so far I've been pretty on board with how the zombies like difficulty is balanced.
All right, well that's fair. I mean, my only experience with playing this new version is the demo, and I felt like I hit the six bullet zombies pretty often in the demo. So maybe they've adjusted it for that, or maybe if I play it on the assisted mode or easy mode or whatever, maybe that would make a difference too. So I'm not super worried about it, but I think just as somebody who plays a lot of zombie games and takes in a lot of zombie media, I just am kind of like ethically offended at the idea that a zombie would take 6 bullets in the head. Like it just kind of just goes against everything I stand for in relation to zombie media. Like it just, you're breaking the unwritten rules, man. Like that's not how this works. But okay, anyway. The other thing I wanted to bring up with you probably cannot address this yet, but just something to file away because I would like to follow up with you about this afterwards, is when I was also talking to Dan about this, trying to get the scoop, one of his biggest complaints, you haven't read Dan's review, have you, or have you?
I have not.
Okay, so anybody listening, in case you want to know what I'm talking about, Dan Weissenberger did a full review of Resident Evil. It's up at GameCritics.com right now. You can read that if you'd like to. I'm not going to get into it a lot here, but his biggest complaint basically was that scenario A and B, or like you said, like you can pick either Leon or Claire and play through the game twice with each character. There are differences. One of his biggest complaints was like those scenarios are not nearly as different and they don't match up as well as they did back in the original Resident Evil 2. Oh. And I was going to ask you about that because I was hoping you'd be further, but you're not that far yet. So keep that in mind because I really would like to hear about that because I was honestly surprised to hear that. I was a little bit shocked because I thought if anything it would be more so, and Dan's like, no, it was actually a couple steps backwards. So I'm
I'm disappointed to hear that because I haven't gotten or tried scenario B yet or unlocked it or whatever, but I was thinking the same thing because I like the amount of detail they put in like mixing up areas of the police station you're familiar with. I thought for sure like, oh, when I unlock scenario B, it'll be like, I mean, I'm not expecting like an entirely different game, but I was expecting a little bit more variation. So I'll definitely report back once I finish it, but hearing that here is a little disappointing.
I mean, just really brief. I mean, he said they reused a lot of bosses, and so a lot of the encounters felt like, even though, for example, like, oh, Leon went through this room and there was a boss here and he made his way through it, and then when Claire gets there, it's like the exact same boss, the exact same room, even though allegedly, like, these stories are supposed to, like, kind of dovetail with each other, so why would the same boss be in the same room?
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. And he also had some complaints about the story in general, but I'll hold off on those. I don't want to, corrupt your attitude on it too much. Just play through it. Let me know what you think. And I would like to hear your opinion after you finish the game, though, like whether you thought they did better, did worse, same. And I am very curious to hear about some of the extra content. I know that there's some stuff that people haven't really been talking about. I am privy to it because I am the editor of GameCritics.com, but I am not at liberty to say, and I haven't seen anybody mention it out in the wild yet. So I'll wait for you to get there and see what you think about that. And we'll circle back. How's that?
It sounds like a perfect plan to me.
All right, cool. Well, it sounds exciting. I'm very excited for you. I know you're really looking forward to this. And I probably will dip into it once I get up the gumption. It probably won't be for a while, but I probably will. I'll give it a shot at some point this year. So, all right, let's move on. I have a very brief bit to talk about a new game that I was playing on the Switch. Just as a little circle back to people who listened to the last couple of episodes, I was doing my damnedest to finish XCOM 2, so I wouldn't have to ever talk about it again. I have not finished it yet. I'm on the final mission of the game, and I have tried to finish it, I think 4 separate times, but what happens is, every time I start to play, something comes up. So, like, the first time, we had an emergency pop up, and I had to go turn the game off to take care of something. I think the second time, I had to go make dinner, and then I didn't come back to it. I think the third time, I just was too fucking tired, and I wasn't making good choices. I had to turn it off. And I think the fourth time, I think I got called out for another emergency. So I've been on the final level of that game for, like, I think three days straight, and I just haven't had the time to finish it. So I didn't want to talk about that again. So instead, I looked on my Switch. I have a bunch of stuff on the Switch because I've been taking advantage of the sales. There are some fucking bonkers sales on the Switch, dude. I don't know if you're in the habit of checking the sale tab every so often, but I go at least once a week to the Switch store. Holy shit, there is some cheap ass games on this, and not just like bad games. Like there's a lot of games that like were on my wish list at full price, and then I see them on sale for like $1, $1.50, $3, $5, and I'm like, oh my god, like these prices are ridiculous. So I suggest to you and anybody listening, if you got a Switch and you are not just like, oh, AAA, like if you're okay to like play some of the indie stuff and smaller games, there are some amazing deals on really good games to be had. So anyway, I bought a bunch of stuff. My memory card is really full right now. I got to start playing some of these and deleting them because I'm getting too full. But I bought one called Kuso, Kuso. I didn't know anything about it. And apparently it's made by a guy named Fred Wood. So I don't know that he's got a whole studio, or I don't know what his deal is, but Fred Wood has made a game and it's on the Switch. I don't know what the story is on that, but I mean, clearly the dude can get things done. This is it's a very me game, and it's a very cute game. It's a 2D platformer on the difficult side. You play as a little guy who's like 5 pixels high, really teeny tiny, and you go. It's just like this abstract kind of like reflex jumping challenge game where Fred Wood, I guess, is good old Fred, has created a bunch of these weird abstract levels where they're just full of like lasers and moving platforms and saw blades and spikes and all this stuff. And all you have to do is just jump through all these various obstacles and get to the end of each room. And I don't think that there's even a story or anything like that. I think it's just like, hey, this is a game I made, and if you like to do platforms, this is what's going down. And I do like platforming, and I like 2D stuff, and I like this indie stuff. The thing that's cool about it is that the graphics are very simple, but they're also very stylized. So I think he's got a good eye. Like everything on the screen looks real good, even though it's very, very, very stripped bare and very, very basic. But he's not lacking the artistic flair, which is good. So visually, I think it's very appealing. That's what caught my eye in the first place. The other thing that's really cool about this is it has a set your own checkpoint feature, which I think is absolutely what makes this game playable. I don't think I would have gotten as far in it as I have if not for this feature. So it's just like it sounds. You start a room, let's say like you're at the bottom left corner and your goal is to get to the top right corner of the screen. And between you and your goal, there's like, I don't know, like 15 moving platforms and a bunch of spikes and a laser that shoots at you and whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die like 50 times in the inch and a half that it takes me to get to the screen, But he gives you this feature where you can literally push a button. There's no cost, no energy, no limit to it. It's absolutely infinite. Push a button anywhere on the screen where you are not getting killed. So you can't push it in the middle of dying. But like if you're standing somewhere peacefully and you're fine for the moment, push a button and you just drop a checkpoint. And it doesn't matter where you are, anywhere as often as you want. Like there's no limit. So you make a real tricky jump. You're like, oh my God, that was really tough. I can't believe I made it. Boom, checkpoint, and you never have to do it again. And you just keep going. And so like you could checkpoint after every jump if you want to. After every 3 pixels of progress, you can drop another checkpoint and just keep going, because that is like really what makes it playable. Because if you had to get through all these levels without dying, frustration city, dude. Like there's no way, like because you die so many times. But the fact that he removes that frustration by letting you, number one, choose the checkpointing yourself, but number two, you only have to redo like 1 second of game, like half a second of gameplay. Like, oh, I made it through 15 jumps, no problem, checkpoint. There's a really tricky jump here, didn't make it. Okay, I just have to do this last, like literally the last jump I did. And it totally, I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not easy, but it takes away so much of the needless frustration of repeating stuff you've already done. Really, really brilliant, dude. Like, super brilliant. I like it a lot, and I think that was a very smart move. And it kind of goes to show, like, you can make a game hard, but you don't have to make it, like, enraging. Like, you don't have to make it soul-crushing to the player, because you still have to have the skill to get through these rooms. Like, there's nothing in this game that's going to float you past these jumps. I mean, you got to just do it. But the fact that he lets you practice over and over and over with no penalty and without spanking you down, it just changes the whole energy and the feel and the dynamic of it. Even despite the fact that there's 1,000 ways to die, it just feels like he wants you to play. Like it feels like, yes, please partake of this, practice your skills, practice your reflexes. And it's so refreshing to see somebody do that. I just really, really like having a challenge and not being punished in addition to the challenge. Like the challenge is enough. And so I respect that so much. I tip my hat to Mr. Fred Wood, who has created this game. I just love it. I love it. I think it was like $4 on the Switch. Super good price. There's a bunch of modes that I haven't even touched yet, because I'm getting through like the original campaign mode where there is infinite lives. I think, it gets harder as you go. There's a couple other modes where there's different levels. And I'm pretty sure that as the further you go, like then he starts giving you a little bit more rules. Like I think there's a limit to lives and how many tries you get or something like that. Whatever. I haven't gotten to that part yet. I'm still enjoying the part that I'm on. Even if I don't get to those parts, I think I've gotten more than $4 of enjoyment out of this game. And from a design perspective, I really like the choose your own checkpoint thing. It's just fucking brilliant. I wish every game did that. So, thumbs up to Kuso, Kuso. a 2D, pretty hardcore platformer that takes the frustration out of it. If you like platforming, if you like indies, if you like really lo-fi games like this, well worth it. And it is a perfect fit for the Switch. Feels right at home on the Switch. Really, really enjoying it. Corey, any thoughts?
My only question is, if you have the freedom to save / checkpoint anywhere, have you ever accidentally checkpointed yourself like into a corner and made a bad decision about where you saved your game?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think that there is a bad place to put a checkpoint. The only restriction, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but just to clarify, if you somehow checkpoint yourself like on top of a spike or like in the middle of like a laser beam, the game knows that and it will not spawn you there. It'll put you back to the beginning of the level to make sure that you don't get stuck, because if you just respawned on a spike over and over and over, you would never get past it, right? So like the game knows when you fucked yourself. So if that happens, they'll kick you back to the beginning of the level. But each level's like one screen big or something. It's pretty small. You're not losing a bunch of progress. And as long as you know that, it's very easy to not checkpoint yourself in a deadly situation. And I don't think there's a place that you can get stuck. I don't think it's possible. I think he's playtested these and gone through them enough that you can always get out of the situation you're in. At the very least, just get yourself back to the beginning, and it's never that far. It's not that long. So I think it seems pretty idiot proof so far, at least from what I can tell.
Perfect. Okay. That was something I was slightly concerned about. I mean, I would probably never play this game, but I've been in situations where either a game has checkpointed on its own or I have saved a game and I realize that, that probably wasn't the best place to save. And it's like a section where I have like 10 health out of 100 and I keep dying. And, I try to stagger saves if I'm being smart, but I'm glad to know you cannot checkpoint yourself into a corner here.
Yeah, rolling saves is always a good idea, but what is in this game's favor is it is so simple. There's no lives, there's no inventory. You're either dead or you're not, just one hit, and there's nothing to collect. So it's like, I think it's pretty easy for him to make sure that you don't get stuck, because it's either I can progress and jump or I can't. And if you can't, then he just sends you back to the beginning. So it's pretty simple. That definitely is a good thing in this particular case. But it's fine. I think it's good. So I don't think you can get stuck. At least it seems impossible to get stuck so far. Who knows? But all thumbs up so far. Anyway, Kuso on the Switch from Fred Wood. I bought it for I think $3 or $4. Definitely recommend it if you want something kind of like Super Meat Boy-ish, somewhat Celeste-ish, but nothing story based. Just really the physical aspect of platforming. So let's move on really quickly here. So Corey, I had visions of talking about Anthem from BioWare. It's the new, I don't know if I want to call it an MMO, but kind of the online game as a service. This is going to be your new hobby for the next 5 years. They want you to check in every day. Loot and shoot, I think, as Cliff Goldsmith described it to me on Twitter, good old Cliff. Kind of like a Division / Destiny / Warframe sort of a thing, where you have a persistent character and you just level them up over time. The hook in Anthem, which comes out I think February 22nd, is that you have a suit of armor, mech armor. I mean, you kind of look like Iron Man in a very rough, vague sense. If you know Iron Man, the Marvel superhero comic, or from the movies, that's basically what it is. And so you can tweak your armor, make it look different ways, equip different guns, etc., etc. Get together with your friends on a weekend and do some, missions or questing or whatever. This seems like the kind of thing that maybe my family would get into. I could easily see me and my wife and my son getting together, or, maybe you and me and Gina playing this on a weeknight or something like that. Possibly. I'm interested. But EA is in charge in a publishing sense, and I have my misgivings about them. BioWare is putting this out, and they are just not the studio that they used to be. But I was willing to give them a shot. They had a beta, which just happened this past weekend. It was open for people who pre-ordered. There were also codes going out to PR recipients like myself. And if you did get one of these codes, it came with 3 extra codes because they wanted you to play with your friends. So you got a code, I got a code, my son got a code, a lot of people I knew got a code, and we were all talking about, let's check out Anthem this weekend. I have thoughts, but I want to hear from you first, Corey. I just talked for a whole bunch. What did you think of Anthem? Just first impressions. Is this your new go-to? What do you think? Anthem, what's your thoughts?
I so I'm not super interested in this game, just to be like really honest up front about it. I mean, like I think it looks kind of neat. I'll probably like rent it when it comes out, but I mean, this sort of like game as service thing is not really something I'm usually into. Like I know that you and me and your wife played The Division a lot. But we pretty much just like beat the campaign and then like did the Dark Zone a handful of times, and that was it. I mean, it's not something that we come back to and are still playing, you know, like 2 years after the fact. Nor would I probably want it to be, because I have other stuff I'd rather be playing or other, you know, I'm just not. I don't have enough free time to do something like that. But it's something I'm interested in, like trying to see how it feels. And so I had access to the beta. I mean, the funny thing is that you got me a code, and it was running only through the weekend, through like Friday through Sunday. And I was out of town all weekend, so I was planning on flying back in and just trying it yesterday afternoon whenever I got back and seeing if I could dip in. And while I was out of town, Patrick actually got a hold of a code from one of his friends, so he ended up downloading it and sort of like accessing it on the PlayStation 4 before I even got back, so it was kind of like ready and waiting for me. So let me detail you my wonderful experience with this beta. So because I was out of town all weekend and I was very busy, I wasn't on Twitter a whole lot, but I was like checking in every once in a while, and I saw some people talking about how the beta was not working very well, and about how like some of the levels weren't loading, or they couldn't get access at all, or they couldn't get access to a server, or like all this stuff. But I wasn't really like paying a whole lot of attention because I was out of town. I had better things to do. So I get home last night and I try to play it on my profile, and I open up the game and it's like, oh, you don't have access to the beta. And I was like, okay, so maybe it's like only accessible on Patrick's profile. So I go to the access code that you sent me, because you emailed me one very kindly, and I accept it and I like sign in, and then I go back to the game. I like close the application and then I go back to the game, and again, it's like, you don't have access to this, sorry. And I'm like, okay, like even though I just registered on your site for it, like that's fine. So I log into Patrick's profile, because I'm like, whatever, he's at work the rest of the night. Like he's not going to be able to come home and play it anyway, because it was shutting down last night. So I go on his profile, and luckily I get in like immediately. And so whenever you go to the game, you basically, it kind of boots you into this like lobby area. I mean, lobby is like not the best word, but it's kind of like just like a general area where it's a first person section. You're in sort of like this like Middle Eastern looking like marketplace area, which is not really what I expected from the game, but it was kind of like a cool touch, I guess. So you're like walking through this sort of like bazaar area, and the game tells you like, oh, you can do these like 3 different things. There's like a mission you can go on. There's like 2 like free roam areas you can go to, and there's like some other kind of mission or something. So I go up to my Javelin, which is the name for like the suits in the game, the Iron Man suits. I mean, I talked to a guy for a few minutes because the game told me to. Then I go to my Javelin, and I'm like, okay, well, the free roam thing sounds like what I would want to do, because I don't want to like jump right into a mission. So I click on the free roam thing, and it loads for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, so I guess it's not going to load here. So I try to like turn off the game, and I exit out of the game. I open the little menu for the game on the dashboard on the PS4, and I click close application. Whenever I click close application, my entire PlayStation 4 shuts off.
Oh God, Jesus.
So, and like to be fair, my PlayStation 4 Pro has had its moments of just randomly shutting itself off. It hasn't done it in a while, and this wasn't like a random occurrence because it's sort of like triggered from the game. But sometimes, like when it's in rest mode, it'll just turn off, or sometimes if like you're closing a game, it'll just turn itself off. And when I say turn itself off, I mean all the way off, not in rest mode, like just like totally off. So I close Anthem, the entire PlayStation 4 shuts off, and I press the power button like 4 times, and it will not come back on. And so I like,
oh my God.
And like, this is also not something new. Like, this is every once in a while this happens. So I literally like unplug the power cord, plug the power cord back in, and then I have to like hold the power button for like 10 seconds. Finally, the PlayStation 4 comes back on, and it says like, every time it does this, it's like, oh, the PlayStation 4 didn't shut down correctly, like, and it does this like memory loading bar thing where it, like, checks to make sure nothing happened. And every time I'm like, well, fuck you, because it's your fault. Like, it's not like I just ripped the cord out while I was playing a game. Like, you're the defective one here, and then it acts like it's punishing me. So I turn it back on. I go back in Anthem. Luckily, it boots up just fine. I'm in the lobby area again. Everything's good. I go back to my Javelin. I try to go into the mission, like, not the free roam area, and it loads for about 5 minutes again, and I turn the game back off. Luckily, the PlayStation 4 did not shut off this time, but I turn it back off, and then I think I tried it one more time. I opened it up again, and then, but this time, I went to the little, like, Javelin workstation area, and I, like, bought all the Javelins so I could look at them, because they have different classes. They have, like, the Colossus, which is, like, slow and, like, powerful. They have, like, a regular one that's, like, really balanced. They have one that has, like, elemental attacks. And then they have a fourth one that's, like, this really, like, fast but low armor. I mean, they're pretty, like, normal classes. And I wanted to do the fast, low armor one because it looks really cool. And it's all about, like, stealth and stuff. So I, like, go in and I, like, paint it how I want. And I put the materials on how I want. And I make it look really beautiful. And it's this cool, like, kind of, like, gunmetal-y color with these, like, cobalt accents. And I was like, hell yeah, this looks exactly the way I want it to look right now. And I, like, equip a different weapon, and then I go back into it, and I select the other free roam area. And it loads for, like, 5 minutes and obviously isn't going anywhere. So I turn it off again. I go buy a pizza because I was hungry. And I think, okay, when I'm done eating pizza, I'll try it again, like, one last time before I go to bed tonight. There's, like, my commitment to trying to get good stuff for the podcast. So I, like, turn it on, and it's, like, 9 or 10 p.m. at night at this point. I turn it on, I get to, like, the main menu or whatever, and it's like, the Anthem servers have been turned off for the beta, bye. And I'm like, it's like 9 p.m. Like, I know it's, like, later in other parts of the world, but, like, I thought I would at least be able to play until, like, 11 or 12. I thought it was, like, a midnight thing. And so, like, I got back to it, and, like, they were like, yeah, the server's already off. Like, well, come back on February 1st or whatever when our next beta weekend is. And I was like, cool. So, like, I get that, like, betas don't work well, and I get that every time a big scale beta comes out for a console, it's always, like, just, like, fuckery in the highest regard. But I was just like, cool, I got to go to the lobby, like, 3 times. I got to detail my Javelin, and I couldn't even load a mission. So that was my experience. I'm not going to hold it against the game because I understand that this is not easy. They're launching a gigantic new IP. I know it's a fucking mess. I would not in a million years expect this to be like a flawless launch because it's not a demo. It's just like a beta thing. They do this so that way the game can be better down the line when it actually releases. But I was still disappointed that I tried to get into a mission like 3 times. It didn't work. It turned my entire PlayStation off when I tried to close the application. But that's all I got to do, and that was my experience. So tell me about yours.
Oh, dude. Basically the same thing. I mean, I was excited. I downloaded the game a couple days beforehand because I knew it was a limited time, and I would be busy, so I wanted to have everything ready to go. So that was no problem. Beta went on at like 9 a.m. on Saturday. I'm like, okay, exciting. Let's do it. Or maybe it's Friday. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Friday. Anyway, so I get in, load up the game, and it's just like, welcome to Anthem. And then it just loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. Never got into it. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, that's weird. But, like you said, it's a giant game. Lots of people. I'm sure there was hundreds of thousands of people who were trying to get in all at the same time. Totally makes sense. I had a code for my son, too, and he was a little disappointed, but we had the talk before, and I'm like, look, anything online never works the first day. At least for the first couple hours, probably more like the first day. So just like, just chill. If it works, great, but I'm not expecting it to. So we'll just give it a shot and see what happens. And we'll come back to it the next day. If it doesn't, I gave the whole online disappointment prep talk that I think all parents should be giving to their kids these days because we live in a brand new world. So he couldn't get in. I couldn't get in. He tried a bunch of times. Just like he would close the game, relaunch, load forever, close the game, relaunch, load forever. And, he kept doing it for a long time. I tried like maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm like, fuck it. I got a life. I got things to do. I can't be sitting here trying to like reload the game. I don't think either one of us got in the entire first day. Like he tried a bunch. I tried maybe 3 or 4 times over the course of the day. Couldn't get in. The second day, he managed to get in a little bit. He got into the hub world for a while, which is like what you described, the kind of Middle Eastern bazaar sort of an area. Just to pause for a moment, I really dislike how this game looks.
Oh
I think
no.
that bazaar looks super generic and weird. Everybody's bald and they look like clones of each other. And I mean, frankly, dude, BioWare, one of the historical strengths of BioWare is that they have memorable characters. They have great stories and memorable characters, and that's what has really made them so successful over the years. And I get that this is just a beta. I get this is not the experience that you would get when you buy it on day one or whatever. Like, I get that. And I'm not bringing the hammer down on these guys. But I gotta say, like, I was just really getting a very strong, generic, kind of bland, whitewashed, just real, super generic, kind of a Bungie feeling. Like, I think Bungie has terrible artistic design. I think about terrible writing. I know that they do gunplay well, and that's fine. I respect that. A lot of people like their online action. Also respect that. But in terms of like story and narrative and visuals and aesthetics, I've thought they've been the pits. Bungie is the pits. And I feel like this game is really, really trying to follow in their footsteps very closely. Just the visuals of it, I was just like, ugh, the UI looks like Destiny. The town looks super generic. The people look super generic. Like, it just looks very like boilerplate sci-fi shooter. Nothing stood out about it to me at all. But anyway, I couldn't get in the second day at all. Couldn't get in. I tried maybe I think 3 or 4 more times, like in the morning, the afternoon, the evening time. I couldn't get in, but my son did manage to get in somehow, which was really frustrating to me because we're in the same house. We've got the same hardware. He got in and was playing a little bit. I couldn't get in ever on the second day. So I watched him for a little bit. It was glitchy. I mean, stuff was going on that was wrong. And again, I don't care. I mean, it's a beta, that's fine. But like, it just was really running really poorly. But he was flying around in his mech suit. He seemed to be having a good time. I got to be honest, dude, as I was watching him, I was getting really bored watching it. I was like, he's just flying around and shooting stuff on the ground, and the aliens look really generic, and the action looks really repetitive and kind of not really exciting. He got to a puzzle area, which again reminded me very much of what Bungie has done with some of their puzzles. It was just this really kind of like color matching puzzle where you had to, I mean, honestly, I had to look it up online because neither one of us could figure it out, but you had to like look around the environment for these certain colors, and that matched up with what you were doing with the puzzle. I thought it was really super vague and dumb. He also thought that, but thankfully somebody had written an article by that time, and clearly that was a problem because people needed that article like myself. So that, I was like, I started to cool off on it because just watching him play was really dull. I'm like, this doesn't look very exciting. The third day, he got in again. He was having much better luck logging in than I was. He got in again, and he was able to play for a much longer period of time. He had leveled up a couple times. He had unlocked some of the other suits that you mentioned, like the stealth one, and he had the heavy one that was his favorite, and he was enjoying that. I finally got into one mission. I got into the beginning, the hub world. I talked to the really generic people. I went on the first mission. And it was just like flying around and you shoot some random aliens and you did a thing, basically just following the marker, wherever the marker goes, and just shooting whatever's there, and then, doing a couple really, really super light puzzle element type things. Not super exciting. And then I completed the mission. I got my loot, which was a bunch of like really generic looking guns on a generic Destiny looking UI screen. And then it crashed. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just reload, and never got back in. Couldn't get back in. Couldn't finish the rest of whatever the next mission was. I couldn't come back to the hub to tweak my guy or whatever, or look at the guns I got. Like, I couldn't get past the loading screen anymore. So I got in for like maybe, I don't know, like maybe like 10 minutes worth of gameplay. And the 10 minutes I saw, I mean, granted, a very brief look, not representative of the full experience, so forth and so on, giving them all the benefit of the doubt. But in that 10 minutes plus the time that I had been watching over my son's shoulder, I really cooled off on it a lot. Like, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a thing. I mean, I might be up for it in the sense of, like you said, where maybe we'd hook up and just do the campaign and then, be done with it. But to be honest, I mean, The Division Part 2 is coming out, and I mean, that's probably going to be at least as fun as the first one was. And it's coming out almost exactly the same time as Anthem is. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe I would just do The Division again and not Anthem, because I'm just not feeling that juice, man. I'm just not feeling excited about it anymore. I know BioWare is making it, but I just don't think BioWare is BioWare. And I didn't see anything that really hooked me. And I'm like, maybe this will be the kind of thing where you come back in a year and it's much better than it is at launch. I mean, likely so. But yeah, it just really cooled me off. And I'm not, and to be fair, I'm not mad about the beta failing and the technical difficulties or anything. I think, just the little bit that I saw was enough to kind of, I don't know, just kind of cooled me off quite a bit.
Yeah, I was thinking about The Division as well because I am probably pretty interested in playing that with you guys again, and I feel like I would rather at least play that first and then come back to Anthem later. Because without a doubt, I didn't really think about it until you said it, but Anthem is probably one of those games like Destiny where 6 months to a year after it comes out, it's going to probably be like a much different thing than it is on launch day, and I'm sure it'll be much more stable, and there will probably be a lot more in it to do and a lot more stuff out there, so waiting on it is probably a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, looking at how far along it was, they're going to be doing another beta. I think it's going to be an open beta either next week or in 2 weeks or something like that. I might give it another shot, but I'm just getting the feeling this is just not ready. Like, it doesn't feel like there's enough there. I don't know, man. It's got a gut feeling it isn't going to do it for me, so I think I'm gonna probably table that one for a while. I mean, if we get a bunch of free codes, sure, but I mean, if I have to like buy one, probably not for a while. So anyway, any final thoughts, or should we move on?
I think we can move on.
All right, cool. I want to give a little bit of a talk about a new game that I'm actually playing for review at Game Critics called Tangledeep. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Okay. I've been hearing buzz about it for a while. It's put out by Impact Gameworks, which they kickstarted this, I think, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, something like that. It is a 16-bit roguelike, pixel-based on the Switch, so I'm already in. This is my genre. This is my Brad-ass game here. Basically, you are a character at, I don't know, the bottom of a underground cave or something. It's a little bit murky, but you're in this little area, and there's a forest or this kind of weird, randomly generated place called Tangledeep, and you need to get through it. Your goal is to reach the surface. I'm guessing it's going to be some kind of post-apocalyptic story or something like that. I don't know that. That's just a guess. It's not spoilers or anything. I'm just from my sense of playing the game. But it's a roguelike in the traditional sense of where you move one square at a time. Nothing in the world moves until you move. And so you're able to frequently pause and take in your environment, look around, and kind of just, choose your best tactical option and then execute one step at a time. I really do like roguelikes which take that approach. This reminds me a lot of Shiren the Wanderer, which I think is a really fine roguelike. Enjoyed that very much back in the day. So you play this. I think there's like 10 different character classes that you can select from. The first one I tried was like a thief, and it had appropriately thiefy powers where you could move a little extra if you needed to get out of the way. You could sneak by somebody and slash them and make them bleed a little bit and take no damage yourself. Otherwise, do some combat stuff. As you play, you level up more powers and you get more stuff, more abilities unlock. You also can collect food, which you can eat or cook for recipes. Later on, you find animals in the maze, or any animal, I guess, any enemy. If you get it really close to dying and then whap it, you can bring it back to base, and it can be your friend. So it's kind of Pokemon-like in that sense. You don't have to engage with that system if you don't want to, but it's there if you like to do that, as you can have a little buddy go along with you, which helps. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and it adheres to a lot of the basic design elements of most roguelikes, or most older school roguelikes. Not roguelites where they kind of get away from the turn-based part, but this very much adheres to the turn-based part, which I think is a good thing. I do appreciate a good bit of classical design that's executed well, and these guys do execute well. A lot of details, like there's a lot of equipment to pick up, a lot of stats to tweak. You can change your characters how you like, and the classes really do give it a lot of flavor. The next class I tried was called I want to say Veggiemancer, but that's totally not right. That's not the right thing. It's not a Veggiemancer. It's something like that, where you're a plant-based magician. So you can summon like vines that have thorns, or you can summon a flower that spits thorns, or you can have a little tendril of a plant that like goes along with you and is your buddy. So like each character has a very different way of playing, which I think is really cool. Like it gives the game a lot of freshness. There's a lot to explore with the different character builds and the different ways to play. Some are much easier. Like the Vegimancer is easy because he gets a friend right away. So having a helper is a huge advantage in the beginning of the game. Other characters are way more like magic based or something that takes a lot more strategy, and you have to know the game a lot better to be able to take advantage of their powers. So that works really well. I mean, the graphics are really smooth and cute, and it looks good. Looks like a very good 16-bit game, something that you might have seen on the Super Nintendo with a little bit more pizzazz to it. Not very far. I got into it at the beginning, and I'll tell you what, this is kind of circling back to our discussion with Resident Evil 2, where we talked about difficulty. One thing that I think is fucking awesome about Tangledeep is they have a ton of options. So you can pick between easy, I mean, this is not the name of it. It's like easy, medium, hard. It's something like heroic, apprentice or master, whatever. It doesn't matter. Easy, medium, and hard. The hardest level is like, if you die, that's permadeath and your save is erased. So that's pretty hardcore. The medium one is like, your character dies of permadeath, but everything that you have done at your home base stays there. So like if you've worked on the town or found some new citizens, or you have some pets in your pet corral, or if you put money in the bank or something like that stuff stays, but you have to start with a new character. And the easy level is if you get killed, you only get knocked out, you start back at town, and you lose half your money and your experience, but you still have the same character and all your gear, and nothing is really lost. So that's a really good bunch of options right there. But on top of that, there's another menu screen where it gives you a whole bunch of options that can either make it really easy or really hard. So, for example, you can regenerate health with every step to make it a lot easier on yourself. You can, like, triple the amount of treasure chests you find. Or if you want to make it really hard on yourself, the enemies can generate health and you don't. Or enemies will be hyper aggressive, or you can, like, make them less aggressive. I mean, there's all sorts of options in there that let you tailor it the way that you want to play, which I think is amazing. Because roguelikes are already kind of a hard genre to approach to begin with, because traditionally challenges are really, it's one of the prices you pay for admission. But for them to be like, hey, look, just play with our systems. If you die, nothing happens. I can make it really easy for you. And in fact, when I started, I turned on all of the help, because I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go real easy. I want the soft satin pillow route. Take it easy. Don't do anything mean to me at all. And it was too easy. I was like, oh, this is way too easy. I'm like basically invincible. I'm blowing through this. This is not what I'm looking for. I respect that it's there. It's awesome that it's there. I'm sure my son would love that mode, or anybody who doesn't like challenge. Not that that's a good or bad thing, just if you want to play that way. So I deleted that save, went back, and then I started playing it on like the standard, normal, like whatever the recommended settings were. And I think that's much more appropriate. It feels pretty balanced so far because I am pretty familiar with roguelikes. So I know how they play, and I'm a little bit hip to that, so I'm playing along. That feels pretty good. But I think it's great. It's a good package, looks good, plays well. Love the options. I think there's a lot of depth to it. It's really, really cool. I mean, I think anybody who likes roguelikes would be very well served to check this out. And it feels great on the Switch. Runs fine, looks beautiful, feels like a great fit for the controls. I mean, I don't really have any complaints about it at all. I have not finished. I'm nowhere near the end, but I've put maybe 5 or 6 hours into it by now. And nothing but good things to say about it. Just really, really well done roguelike. I'm digging it.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. And I also, unfortunately, have like no responses for this at all.
Yeah, I know. I keep picking games that are absolutely not in your bailiwick, and so I know it's tough to have a discussion about that. But for anybody listening, if you like roguelikes, if you like Shiren the Wanderer or anything like that, this is in that same zone, and it's really well done. Looking forward to playing more of it. I mean, I can't say with authority that it's great all the way through, but the 5 or 6 hours I've seen so far have been super solid. Very enjoyable, and I'm still playing it a lot. So Tangledeep seems like the business so far. One or two more things, and then we're going to be out. We're going to make this pretty quick. Yesterday, I got an email from Sony doing their year-end statistics. Did you get this email, Corey, or did you not get this email?
I did not get this email, and I did not get it last year either, and it pissed me off when I didn't get it, but I'm glad that there's a way to get it even if you didn't get the email.
I don't understand why some people get it and some people don't, because like it seemed like half the people I knew got it and half the people didn't. and there was really no rhyme or reason to it. Like, some people that seemed like really hardcore players didn't get one, and some people that were super casual got one. And I don't know why or how they're selecting people to get this email. But like you said, there is a website you can go to. I know of the one for North America. I'm not sure if there's one for other regions. But if you go to PlayStation.com/en-us/campaigns/2018/wrap-up, you can go and find your own stats. So I know that's a lot to say. I'm not going to say it again. But if you Google it, year-end PS4 stats, you'll find the website. I think a couple news sites have also covered this as well. But anyway, I thought it would be fun for us to compare our stats and just talk about this really briefly because I think it's interesting. And I don't know, just see what discussions pop up. Let's talk about this a little bit, shall we?
I love this. I think we should go one stat at a time and reveal ours as we go.
Okay, let's do this. Do you have the website open?
I am on it right now.
Okay, so the first category is number of games you played. In 2018, I played exactly 100 different games. Corey, how many did you play?
Dang, I came up short. I played 65.
65. Still pretty good, though. Still pretty good. That's at least like one a week, or a little bit more than one a week, right? Not bad, not bad. And again, folks, this is PS4 only. This is not including Switch or Xbox One. So, like, obviously, the numbers for both of us are going to be higher. Probably also for you as well if you're a multi-platform person. But I didn't get my... You know, actually, that's not true. I did get an email from Xbox One. Did you get one? Do you have an Xbox One?
I have one, but I did not get an email either.
I got one a while ago. It was like on January 1st or something, but it was pretty... nothing notable about it because I barely play it, so it wasn't really worth talking about. Anyway, next category. This surprised me a lot, and I'm curious to hear yours. Your top games, Corey, what were your top games? It tells you your top three. What was your top three?
All right, my number 3, and this made me feel good about justifying it on my Game of the Year list. My number 3 was Far Cry 5, which I played for 30 hours. I was surprised to see this on here, but I'm glad I played it that much, I guess, because it makes me feel better about putting it on my top 10. My number 2 was Marvel's Spider-Man, which came as no surprise. I played that for 45 hours. And my number 1, despite it coming out at the tail end of the year, was Hitman 2, which I played for 60 hours.
Interesting. Okay, so those are good numbers. I was actually very surprised by mine. I would not have guessed what this actually was. So my number 3 was Warframe, 75 hours, which I'm like, what? How did I play 75 hours of Warframe this year? That seems crazy to me. Number 2, Monster Hunter World for 124 hours. That one makes sense. I do remember putting quite a bit of time into that. Can you guess what my number 1 game is?
I cannot.
Fortnite. It was ridiculous.
Is that because your son plays it, or is it just your stats?
No, that was just me, like, plinking along here and there, a little bit here, a little bit there, playing with friends here and there.
Brad.
143 hours of Fortnite. I never in a million years would have guessed.
You never talk about Fortnite, and you play it the most out of any game.
That's why I was so surprised. I'm like, how did I play 143 hours? I never talk about Fortnite, but I play it. So there you go.
God. That was so funny.
All right. Dude, you could have knocked me over with a leaf. I had no idea. No idea. The next one, your top genres. They list your top 3 genres. What are the 2 that are in the ranking, and then what is your number 1 top one that they give you stats for?
My number 2, I only have 2. My number 2 is first person shooter. My number 1 is action adventure.
Did they give you stats for that?
They do. Allegedly, I have played 25 action-adventure games. I have earned 203 trophies in them, and I've played them for a combined 213 hours.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. They gave me 3 genres. My 2 lower genres were action-adventure and RPG. My top genre was shooter, which is weird because I'm not really a shooter fan. Like,
obviously, you are Fortnite. Hello.
I mean, I guess, but I don't even... it's so weird. It's so weird. So I played 12 games that qualified as a shooter. I only got 55 trophies because I'm not a trophy hunter in any way. But I did put in a total combined 275 hours on shooters.
Oh my gosh.
That is shocking to me. That is scandalous, sir.
It makes me wonder how they categorize their games, though.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the next one is a good one. This is your overall year-to-date stats. In 2018, you played X amount of hours. Corey, how many hours did you put into your PS4 in 2018?
I played 485 hours of gameplay.
485. I put in 757 hours.
Oh my god, Brad. That's almost twice what I've played. Jesus Christ.
I know it, man. Okay, so this is an interesting one too. I think you're going to have much different numbers than I will. They break it out into 3 categories. So those numbers that we just talked about, your yearly total, broken out into 3 categories: locally, which is usually, I'm guessing, just single player stuff, online, and VR. Now, what did you play locally, online, and VR?
Well, I don't have PSVR, so I have 0 hours for VR because I play VR on PC.
Oh, damn it! That's right. I keep thinking you have PSVR, but you actually have what? The Vive?
Yeah, I've got the Vive on PC. So
okay.
Yeah,
and
0
so what about
for
the
VR.
rest?
And this actually cracked my ass up. So I played 485 hours of gameplay total. I played, out of those 485, my local hours were 484. I played 1 hour online last year.
Oh my
single
God.
hour.
Oh my God, that is fucking amazing. I love that. That is amazing. I had 697 local hours, 60 hours online. I mean, that makes sense. And 0 in VR because I do not dip into PSVR. Next one, longest gaming streak, which is like the longest session you had. What was your longest session?
Mine, I'm really scared because I want mine to be longer than yours, but I bet you will have played longer. My longest gaming streak was 10 consecutive hours.
Oh my God, you monster. You absolute monster. Mine was 3 hours, dude.
Oh, I bet you. I wish they would tell you what it was. I bet you it was Hitman 2, honestly.
I'm sure it was, dude. I'm sure it was. What else could it possibly have been? The next one is, out of 365 days that make up the last year of 2018, how many of those days did you play your PS4, Corey?
146.
146. I played my PS4 284 days out of 365. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty high. Your prime gaming hours. What were your prime gaming hours, and what was your prime day to play?
My prime hours were evening, and my prime day was Saturday. So I guess Saturday nights is where it's at.
Interesting. My prime gaming hours were late night. Makes perfect sense because I got to get the family to bed, got to do my chores around the house, and then when that's all done, that's when I play. Usually I don't even sit down with something until midnight or 1 o'clock. Prime day was Friday, so I don't know why Friday, but there you go. How many trophies did you earn in 2018?
I earned 491, 363 were bronze, 89 were silver, 39 were gold.
That's crazy because I thought mine would have been way less. It says that I've earned 499 in 2018.
I don't beat me, you jerk.
I mean, I wasn't even trying, dude. I don't trophy hunt at all, but I had 24 gold, 89 silver, no platinum, and 386 bronze. Those must be the ones you get for just turning the game on, you know? Like, welcome to our game. Poop, here's a trophy. Makes you feel good about yourself. And let's see, is there anything else, or is that... oh, okay, yeah. PlayStation... Are you a PlayStation Plus member?
Technically, I'm not, but Patrick is, so I think that counts for my profile, too.
Did it give you stats for that?
I have my top game played online.
Okay, so for me, it gives me my PlayStation Plus specific stats. Maybe you don't have this. It says I downloaded 10 free games in 2018. I saved $101.45. And it says, and then what is the next one? You have top game played online?
Yes.
What is that for you?
That was Hitman 2 with my single hour of online gameplay.
You won. For me, Monster Hunter World, 42 hours. Is there anything else? We're kind of getting to the tail end of this, and then it gives you like a brief summary. We don't have to go through these. It gives you a breakdown of like the games you played and the trophies you earned and the hours you spent month by month. So everybody has a breakdown of that. And then at the very end, they give you like a thank you for playing. They give you a cute little title. What is the title that you got?
Oh, I didn't realize these were like customized. My title is Masterful Adventurer.
Oh, I have Masterful Marksman.
Oh, yeah, because you like shooter games, and I like action-adventure games, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
I want to know, what month did you spend the most hours playing, and what month did you play the most games?
Okay, so that's a good question. The game I played the most games, well, April and November, I both played 10 games. And then in terms of hours, I put 110 hours into January. Second runner-up was probably 90 in February, and then it kind of just trails down from there. What about you?
Oh my God. Okay, mine are kind of all over the place, but the most games I played in 1 month was only 6, and that was in March. But the most hours I spent playing a game or playing games was in April, with 71 hours, and then November with 67 hours, which was probably mostly Hitman.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that brings us to the end of this little thing. I love these little breakdowns, dude. I don't know whose idea it was to start doing this, but I love getting these little end of the year wrap-ups. This one is awesome. I think there's a lot of really cool and surprising information. Like I said, I did get one from Xbox One. There wasn't a lot on there because I barely turned my Xbox One on. It made me look like Sea of Thieves was my top game and all this shit. And I'm like, okay, this is super super inaccurate. It's not me. But this PlayStation one, I think, is pretty on the mark. Do you feel like this is a pretty good reflection? Do you think they got their numbers right?
Oh yeah, I think this is really neat.
I love this thing. This is so interesting. So, folks, go check out your stats. If you are a PS4 owner, you can Google this thing. Or you can go back and rewind and try to catch the URL that I read out to you. But you can find it. Ask around, ask your friends. You'll find it and see what you did. If you've got anything crazy, let us know because I would love to see how we stack up with you and see how that shakes down. Because, we work at a game review site. We play a lot of games. We podcast. I mean, I think that we're probably pretty serious about playing games. I would be curious to hear what the listener stats are. Are there listeners that make us seem like complete newbies? Are we putting them to shame? I kind of want to know. So, folks, let us know if you care to share. Otherwise, one last thing, and then we are out. I guess I should probably let you talk about this. Corey, do you see the next thing on the agenda there?
I do. I wasn't super prepared to talk about this, but I'll just give a tiny little shout out to Mr. I know this isn't your real name, but Mr. DJ Koa on SoundCloud. I guess concerned. I don't know. He likes, quote unquote, and by likes I mean hits the like button on SoundCloud for pretty much every show, which is great. I love that. I don't expect people to do that, but I think literally if I go to SoundCloud and look at our stats, I think he's our top listener forever for all of the time that we've been doing the podcast, and I think he is our top likes, if you will. Which, thank you. That's awesome. I love that. But I noticed that he hadn't liked a few episodes, and I was like, oh God, what's going on? Did we say something mean, or did he just lose interest in the podcast? What's going on? Did he die? Who knows? Did he get sick? I don't know. So I messaged him. I slid into his DMs on SoundCloud, but he had messaged me previously, so it wasn't a new thing for us, and just thought I would check in and see how he's doing, making sure he's all right, see if everything's cool. And he was, so good news. DJ Koa is not dead. He is alive and kicking, and he said thank you and told us never stop doing the podcast. So luckily, we don't have any plans to stop doing the podcast anytime soon. So we'll be here for a while for your listening pleasure. But yeah, I just thought he sent a very sweet message back after I checked in, and I don't know. I thought that was cute. So thank you for messaging us back, and thank you for still rocking with us on the show, because let's be real here, the listeners are the real MVPs here. Brad and I just show up and sit here and talk for a few minutes, but you guys are the MVPs in this situation.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that we've got DJ Koa out there in SoundCloud land, and it's he kind of stands out in that area, so that was really neat. And I know that he likes the show, and he's dropped comments a few times, and so the last comment that he gave us after you kind of reached out to him was a really sweet comment and very nice, and so I just wanted to give him a shout out. Thank you very much for listening, DJ Koa. Thank you for being out there representing, holding it down for us out on SoundCloud. I really appreciate that you got our backs, and thank you for listening, and hey, shout out to you. All right, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you all very much for listening. Very glad to have you aboard. Nothing else to say for now, but in the meantime, please remember that you can send us your comments, thoughts, feedback, ideas, anything else that you would like to. You can hit us up, sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. I guarantee we will read your message. We respond. We love getting feedback from people. Don't be shy. Let us know what you think. You can also post comments for us at gamecritics.com once the show goes up there. Just hit the podcast tab on the homepage if you don't see it. We are also on Twitter as a show collectively at SoVideoGames. But you can also reach us individually. I think that's a really good way to go. My Instagram and Twitter is BRADGALLAWAY. All A's, no O's. Corey, where can people find you on the social media?
They can also find me on Twitter or Instagram. My handles are my first and last name as well. It is Corey Motley, Corey. The E is very important. People always want to leave the E out. CoreyMotley, and that's where you'll find me. Excellente.
All right. That is the end of another So Video Games. Again, thank you folks so much for joining us on this deeply emotional and spiritual journey. Love having you aboard. Love sharing this time with you. Love having an audience, and reach out and say hi if you feel so inclined. Also, don't forget, we do have banter after closing music if you like to hear that. If not, don't worry about it. Just bail now, and you won't miss anything really game related. And that's it for now. In the meantime, we will see you later. And this is bye from Brad.
And bye from Corey. We will see you guys next week. We're doing like banter though, right?
Yeah, we're doing banter. Let me start because my life is falling apart at the seams.
Oh,
and I'm just like, it is fucking madness, dude. I had a really busy week. Please forgive me if I'm really scattered today because I do not feel like my shit is in order at the moment. I was really busy last week. Was housework, stay-at-home dad stuff, homeschooling, etc., etc. And I was also like hell bent on getting XCOM 2 finished, and so I was like trying to squeeze in like every spare like 15 minutes or something. I would like jump on and try to get a little bit further and try to get that knocked out. And so I'm like, okay, well, we hit the weekend. Gina's going to be home. Nothing's really going on. I'm going to get caught up on my stuff, like household stuff. Going to get caught up on Game Critic stuff because that fell through the cracks. I was supposed to post on Friday and I got just overwhelmed with life stuff and couldn't do it. And then I'm like, I got some paperwork to do. And then I helped Gina with some of her stuff because she's got like this huge, ridiculously huge, like mountain load of stuff that she needs to do. So I'm like kind of her like ad hoc assistant and stuff. And I ended up just working the entire weekend because we had like a rash of people who had emergencies pop up. And so I literally spent like all day yesterday and all day Saturday just in and out of the emergency room helping people with stuff that was going on. So I didn't get fuck all done on anything. I mean, I helped people who needed it, which was good. But at the same time, like I came home. I mean, Gina did a lot of the heavy lifting. She did a lot of the housework that I was supposed to do. And she did a lot of the stuff that I was supposed to do. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much because I know you worked really hard during the week. And then for you to do all this stuff on the weekend is a lot. And I appreciate you doing it. And I didn't even ask you or anything. You just did it out of the goodness of your heart because you're my awesome wife like that. But I still had like a jillion things to do. And so like here's Monday morning rolls around and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like the clock is already ticking. I got shit going down. I start a huge project on Monday and my life is just like out of control, spinning wildly out of control. But we are here and for the next, hour and 45 minutes, tight show, 2 hours. We're going to just focus on game stuff. I'm actually glad to be talking to you because it's kind of like a little moment of zen in the middle of my day. So
oh, this is good. Okay.
That is how I'm doing. How are you doing, sir?
I have to be frank with you. I'm having a bit of a I'm double dipping right now during banter. I'm having a nice self-care moment while I do banter with you. I'm actually taking off my nail polish right now.
I knew you were going to say it. I was like, are you doing your nails? I know you're doing your nails. There's only so many things you can do when you're podcasting, and nails is one of them.
Yeah, because I don't have to like use my hands for anything. And and I mean, taking off nail polish is not a difficult thing to do. I'm not going to paint them while we record because that would be a little overboard. But I had kind of a I definitely don't think my day was nearly as rough as your weekend, but today it worked. So like I took Friday off work because I went to Atlanta, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And like I probably said this before, but I kind of have one of those jobs at my office where like I'm kind of the only person that does my job, and like there are people who are like kinda sorta supposed to like back me up if I'm not there, but they don't really do a whole lot. So of course I get to the office today after being out of town all weekend, and like every motherfucking person, every student at the university, I feel like all just like fought each other all weekend. Like we had all these fucking incidents. There was like one floor and one door.
Oh, you mean like literally fighting?
Like literally fighting. Like
literally fighting.
Literally fighting. Like we had one, and I mean I'm not going to name any specifics because that would be against the rules. But like we had one specific floor of one dorm where we had probably like, it was like 3 or 4 incidents that all kind of happened like around the same time, involving like 15 different dudes, and like I think like 2 of them might have like gotten in a fight, like a literal like fight in their dorm room. And like I think one of the students was like drunk, and he was like trying to like lie to the RAs about like why the other guy got hurt, and like it's just like, and luckily like I don't have to investigate this, but I have to like sift through all the information. Like we had that going on. We like literally had a student who like I mean that was like maybe an assault right there, but we had like another student who hit another student on the same floor and the same dorm and the same night. And we had like a bunch of dudes who were like mouthing off to the RAs and to the RDs, and you know, like, and even like our campus's police department showed up, and like we had a student freaking call like that. Oh my god, she like doesn't get along with her roommate, so she like went downstairs, and we have like, so the university I work for, we have like our own university police department, which is not uncommon for universities, but we also have like a security, kind of like a private security force, and that sounds like more cool than I'm making it sound. It's basically just like door guards for the dorms, like pretty much. Like they're not like armed, and they don't really have any like agency. They just kind of like are like door security. And so she like went downstairs and like told the security dude at the door that there was like a man in her room that was making her uncomfortable.
What?
So the guard called the campus police to come like investigate what was going on, and it was her fucking roommate's boyfriend. And it's just like it's just because they're not getting along, so she must be like, I don't know if she's trying to be like as petty as she can possibly be, or like what like the dynamic is between them. But like she literally was like moving out of the room to like go to a different dorm the next day because they've been like in this conflict since the beginning of the semester. And like the night before she moves out, she like has the security guard call the police because her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend were there at the same time. So like the police come, and they're basically just like, oh, it's your roommate's boyfriend. Like she made it like, I guess she must have made it sound to the security officer like it was just some like random
like it was a
dude.
stranger or something.
Yeah,
sure.
And so like obviously the police like didn't need to come, but it was just like, I don't know. It's just like, so I got to work today, and of course like after being gone all weekend, like Mondays are always bad because like I don't work on the weekends, so like the incidents just like pile up over the weekend, and then I always end up staying late on Monday to like try to get everything sorted out. But the fact that I took Friday off too, and like Thursday night into Friday is when like all this like ridiculous shit happened with like people getting in fights and just like all this stuff. So I was like and like the weird thing about like my job too is like we get, so people write incident reports for this stuff. Well, sometimes I'll get like 4 incident reports for the same thing, and I have to like read through all of them and like piece all of this together. And sometimes people don't write incident reports very well, and sometimes people do, and everybody writes them a little bit differently. So it's like, sometimes like staff will write them like really thoroughly, and it'll be like really like clear what happened, and they'll just like format them well. And sometimes people write them and they're just like all over the place, and they like skip around in the timeline, and like there'll be like an involved party at the top of the page that's not even mentioned in the description of what happened. And it's just like, it's a freaking mess sometimes. But I mean, like obviously it could be worse. Like my job is A-okay, but today just kind of like really took it out of me a tiny bit at work, freaking reading through all these reports and trying to figure out like who did what and who punched whom and who was the creepy guy in the room. And it's just, yeah, it's silly.
That sounds like a lot. Like, I don't know how you don't even like come in on Monday morning and see that shit stacked up at your desk and just like fucking flip the desk and just like walk out and be like, you know what? you guys just keep your shit to yourself. Like, behave like people. Like, how do you even put up with that stuff? It sounds like fucking madness, dude.
Well, the way that I put up with it is because I don't actually have to put up with it, because I'm not the person who like meets the students or talks to the students or like investigates their like bad conduct behavior or whatever. I think that is what helps me, because all I have to do is read the reports and like piece together what happened and then figure out who like the people need to be assigned to, like whether they need to see the conduct office or whether they need to like get help from a case manager, or sometimes they need both, or it just like really depends on the situation. But luckily I don't actually have to like talk to the students, because I think I'd be capable of being a good like conduct investigator, but I don't know if it's something I would ever want to do. But luckily I just read the reports and then send them out, and then and then other people take care of it. But what does make me mad is whenever like there's really like dumb shit that takes up my time at work, whenever there's like actual students who have real issues who need help, students whose like one of their parents just died, or a student who had like I don't know, like a nervous breakdown panic attack and is like hyperventilating in their room or something like that. Like those are the students that like really need help, and then you have like students who call the police on their roommate's boyfriend, and it's like you're just like wasting everybody's time on like multiple levels. And I wish that it just kind of sucks when that kind of takes away from like the students that like legitimately need the help, you know what I mean?
I mean, totally. And it's so weird because college is such a weird thing in this country for many reasons, but in this one particular aspect, it's just crazy to me that like people would pay all this money and like, I mean, apparently work so hard, or at least they must have done some modicum of work to even get into college, I guess, unless you've got zero standards. But you get there and then you just act like a dipshit and you can't keep your personal stuff in check. And like, this sounds like just drama and nonsense. And like, oh my God, dude, like hearing you tell this stuff and just like, I'm trying to imagine myself at your desk. And if I don't know if you have a window or not, but if I was you, I would like, if I had a window, if you do have a window, I would sit at my window and I would just fucking sneer at that window like all day long at those fucking dipshits on campus. Like, fuck you and fuck you. You're paying the fuck you too. I would be the bitterest like Grinch ass dude up in that office. Oh man, I'm glad you got that job, but not me, because I don't think I'd be a good fit for it.
Yeah, I mean, I do an awful lot of like eye rolling at work, but
there you go.
I mean, I don't know. And like the weird thing about the university I work for is that it's like a private, like pretty, like it's like a pretty prestigious university. But the weird thing is like, because it's kind of prestigious, and because a lot of the kids that go to the school there come from pretty like wealthy families, like when you said the thing about like them paying all the money to go there, like that is kind of something that people often use as leverage like against the university. They're like, well, I'm paying so much money to go here, like why doesn't my son or daughter have this, or why don't you offer that, or why can't you accommodate this? And it's like they kind of turn it around into like a, oh, well, I'm paying so much, so why can't you do this? And it's like, well, that's because that's just not a thing we have. Like people will demand stuff that we don't have, or the parents often think that something is an absolute emergency whenever it's totally not in a million years, even close to an emergency. And there's just a lot going on at the university.
Yeah. Well, okay, so somewhat segueing, kind of a double segue, just a quick hop and then a real segue. Speaking of college, speaking of money, I was actually just I saw an article that passed by a minute ago. We don't have to talk about this deeply, but basically they were talking about some of the tax giveaways that Trump has been giving. Like he's been giving all these tax breaks to the rich people. Not going to get super political, but since we're talking about college, and apparently he gave like all total so far, the money that he has like allowed rich people to not pay to the government that they should pay is something on the order of like $1.5 trillion, like all told. And like, the person who was doing the article was like, that's enough money to make college free for everybody in America for like the next 20 years. So, I mean, think about what kind of impact that would have if like every kid who like legit wanted to go to college, not to fuck around and punch people and get drunk and fuck and stuff, but like to actually like learn and to make life a better place, but they can't. I mean, there must be, I don't even know how many people out there who like legit really want to go to college to make their life better, to make their lives better for their families or whatever, and can't afford it. And I mean, not only do you have these whoever these people are on your campus who are fucking around and have the money to fuck around, but like, here's our government who's like, oh yeah, we're gonna just like these people who are just billionaires already, we're gonna let them save $1 trillion and fuck everybody in this country, which I think is just like a huge injustice. It just like makes me kind of sick. So I mean, we don't have to dwell on that. I just wanted to touch on that really quickly because it was like a little factoid that came across my radar. But speaking of Trump, in somewhat a related sense, not in about him specifically or anything like that, but like the trickle down effect, the Trump effect, if you will. Something that really hit home in my house on a very personal level in my family just happened yesterday, as a matter of fact. So you've seen those fucking hats, right? The red hats.
Oh, of course.
MAGA hats. Yeah, okay. So we live in Seattle, super blue. I mean, probably one of the bluest parts of the country right now. I mean, hyper hardcore blue area, which is great. I love it. I'm glad that I'm here. I mean, I didn't plan it that way. It just kind of worked out, but I think that's perfect. So we're pretty isolated from a lot of the red shit going on, which is good. But my son, he loves the color red. Red has been his favorite color since birth. He is 9 years old now, and Trump has only been a thing for like, what, the last 2.5 years, 3 years or something like that?
Give or take.
In a real sense, anyway. Yeah, give or take, something like that. So my son has loved red since before Trump was a thing. And before Trump made these fucking hats a thing, because honestly this hat is like the equivalent of like wearing the swastika as far as I'm concerned. Like if you wear that hat, you are telling people you are a racist, you are for Trump, you're looking to start shit. Like it's a flag, right? Like it's not just a hat with my political views. Like it's you're making a fucking statement that's loud and it's out in Front Street and people can see it from anywhere because it's on your head. It's red. It's got the letters and everybody knows what it means, right? I mean that's how I see it. Is that how you feel basically? Like do you agree with that?
I would say that red hats have been ruined forever.
After Trump?
Yeah, even if they don't have writing on them. Anytime I see someone in a red hat ever, I'm like, oh, they must be an asshole.
See, that is okay, so yes, exactly that, because what happened was my son loves red, has always loved red. It is still his favorite color ever since he's a baby, since he was old enough to say the word red. He has this red baseball cap that he always wears. And so yesterday we're going to go out, take a walk around the neighborhood, get some fresh air. And he's like, oh, where's my red hat? And I'm like, oh yeah, I put it up on this shelf where, he's like, oh, I want to wear it. And I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna let you wear it. And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, because it looks too much like a MAGA hat or whatever you want to say. I'm like, it looks too much like a Trump hat and we don't support that. I don't want people to think that you're a Trump kid. Like, even though there's no letters on it, it looks too much at a glance like you are a Trump supporter. And, like, we are in a really blue area. Now, it's not like I wasn't, like, afraid for my life or anything. Like, I didn't think, like, liberal people were going to come beat us on the street or anything. But, like, you get glances and people are like, oh, are you one of those Trump fuckers? And, like, it's just, I would never let him out of the house in a shirt that had a symbol that kind of looked like a swastika on it. Like, in that same sense, I would never let him out of the house with that red hat. And he was fucking bummed, dude. Like, he was super sad because this is a thing that has always been near and dear to him. It has nothing to do at all with Trump, but Trump has fucking ruined the color red in a very large sense, kind of like what you said, but especially red hats, even if they don't have any lettering on them. And here's like this innocent 9-year-old kid, sweetest kid on earth, who just wants to wear this hat that he's always worn, and like he can't do it. I mean, yeah, maybe it would have been fine, but like I didn't want to risk it, dude. Like I was like, this is not a cool time to wear a hat like this. This is not a politically safe time to wear a hat like this. I don't want anybody misunderstanding or assuming, because it's just not fucking cool, dude. And we explained it and he understood it after a while, but it like really hurt his feelings and he was really super sad and I felt sad and my wife felt bad and like we all were just like, God damn it, And just one more way that Trump has fucking ruined this fucking country, dude. Like something even as small as that, like he has managed to he ruin the afternoon of a 9-year-old child on the complete opposite side of the country just by being a fucking asshole. Just by him existing has like, he put a damper on my kid's day, and that is not okay, dude. Fucking, I was really upset about the whole thing, honestly.
Well, if the biggest impact that he has had on your life is that your son can't wear a red hat, I would count yourself pretty lucky.
Well, I don't know that it's just that, but I think there's probably a lot of other impacts we're not talking about right now, but just that one thing, it just really got me, dude. Like, it just, it's just like the whole, we can't have nice things magnified by like 1 billion because of all the shit that's going down in this country. And I don't know. There's all this other shit. I mean, I could rant about Trump for hours. We're not going to do that. We're not going to get super political. We're not going to do that.
Never.
I'm not going to do that. But just this one thing, like, it's just, this one moment where it was just like, God fucking damn it, like, fuck that guy, fuck everything he stands for, fuck every Republican. If my kid wants to wear a red hat, he should be able to wear a fucking red hat. and not have people think he's a fucking Nazi. But anyway, that was just that one little thing I wanted to bring up because it just really fucking got under my skin. I mean, I'm not saying that's the worst thing Trump's done. I know there's like a billion other things, but just that one moment I just wanted to recognize as something that was just really particularly shitty. So anyway, what else you got to banter about, dude? What non-political stuff you got?
Well, you
took a trip.
Yeah, I was in.
You just got back.
I was in Atlanta all weekend. Yeah, I flew out Friday, and basically went to photograph a parkour competition thing that some guys that I know are having there. And honestly, like the trip, like could not have gone smoother because we booked our tickets like a week and a half before the flight, and we used some website that my friend Ian knows that, like, I guess has like really cheap flights. So we ended up flying Spirit, which is like the cheapest airline you can fly. And
yeah, I've heard of it.
yeah, because usually I fly Southwest because the tickets are kind of expensive, but like you don't really pay anything extra because whenever you get cheap flights, like anytime you add anything on, like it's like, oh, you want to print your boarding pass, it's $10 extra. Oh, you need to take a carry-on, it's $45. Like, I mean,
my god,
that's kind of how Spirit is. Like, because with Spirit, like you have, if you fly with only one small bag as your like personal item, quote unquote, then you basically don't have to pay for anything. But if you need a personal item and a carry-on, the carry-on is like $45. And then if you need to check a bag, I don't know how much checking a bag is, but it's probably like $50 or something like that. So luckily, we planned the weekend so that I just put everything in my camera bag. And because we're only gonna be there for a couple days, I just wore the same jeans all weekend and just took like a few shirts with me and stuff. And
sure. Smart way to go.
Yeah. So it ended up being like Ian, like I went with my friends Ian and Levi, and Ian's flight, his round trip flight to Atlanta and back was only like $55, and Levi and mine were like $80. So it was like super cheap to fly there and back, and like pretty much everything went as smoothly as it could have possibly gone. Like we got to the airport on time. The flight was only like an hour long, so it was really short. The Atlanta airport is large, but it was easy to get around in because they have like a tram inside of it, so it was just like nice. When we got to Atlanta, Julian was there ready to pick us up. He was the guy who put the jam on and who like basically we stayed at his apartment all weekend. So he was like there ready to pick us up. And then like he and his girlfriend pretty much drove us around all weekend. And it just like, everything was just like worked so well. Like we had the competition on Saturday and it basically went from like 11 to probably about 8 or so. And it was kind of like an open gym, like practice sesh from 11 to 3. And then the actual competition stuff started at 3. And they had, categoried parkour competitions for speed run, skill, and style, and they had like different stuff going on for every category. And Ian, the guy who went with us, who's the guy from New Orleans that I photograph a lot, he took first place in speed and skill, so he like he didn't compete in style. He probably would have placed in style if he had competed, but he ended up winning 2 out of 3 categories, so that was kind of cool. Like we basically went and like I don't think any like Atlanta natives there took first place in anything because we like Ian from our group took first, and then one of the guys, I think he's from like South Carolina or something, took first in style. So that was kind of funny because like Atlanta hosted it and they didn't really like place in anything, which is kind of hilarious, but
kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, so like we did that, and I took pictures the whole time and met a bunch of new people, and then we went out. One of the other guys who hosted the comp, Jay, he just had people over at his house that night. So basically we went to the parkour competition all day, we got dinner, and then a bunch of us went back over to Jay's house and drank, and it was awesome. And then Sunday we got up and we were gonna try to train on Sunday, but everybody was kind of tired and some people were hungover, so we didn't train on Sunday. But then he took us to the airport, we flew back, and I got back yesterday at like about 4-ish, and thought briefly about spending all night editing photos because I know I have a lot of people waiting on photos from me right now. But instead, I copied my photos onto the computer, and then I turned the computer off and played Resident Evil 2 for the rest of the night.
Sometimes you just got to do self-care, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and plus, like, I had bought Resident Evil and only played it for, like, 45 minutes before I went out of town because I had to pack and everything, and then...
Yeah, like, you like, left the day that it came out, right?
Yeah, because it came out on Friday, and I was, like, in turmoil trying to figure out what to do because I hadn't pre-ordered it, and they had 3 different versions of it. They had, like, the $60 version, I think there was a $70 or $80 version, and then the ridiculous, like, $200, like, ridiculous collector's edition, and I wanted the middle one, and so, like, I called GameStop, and... I was just like, hey, are you guys doing like a midnight release tonight? Like, what's going on? Because I don't really know if they do those anymore. And the lady on the phone, she was like, well, we're not doing a midnight release. She was like, but we close at 9 and we're doing like an 8:50 release. She was like, so you can just like come by right before we close. We give them out. And then like and I was like, oh, awesome. I was like, okay, well, I haven't pre-ordered it. I was like, can I like swing by and pre-order it and then just come back tonight and pick it up? And she was like, yeah, you can do that. But we're not offering pre-orders on the deluxe or the collector's edition. And I was like, oh, awesome. So like, I guess they had like stopped or like fulfilled all of their pre-orders for like the expensive ones. So I couldn't decide like what I wanted to do because I wanted like the physical version because I just want that.
Sure.
But I ended up just buying it on the PSN. So I just preloaded it on the PSN and then it unlocked at 11 p.m. my time. And so I played it for about an hour. I only played, well, maybe about 45 minutes on Thursday night into Friday. And then I had to, like, you know, eat dinner and pack and get ready for the trip and everything. So I was actually, when I flew back in on yesterday, I was able to, like, really sit down and, like, spend some time with it. So, but I'll talk about that. Well, we're in the time loop right now. I'm going to say I'll talk about that on the show. But if you're listening to this, you already heard me talk about it. So that was the, I don't know, boring backstory on how I bought Resident Evil. But...
That was the setup for the segment that you heard an hour ago.
But the good news is that I was able to play it, so...
all right.
Yes.
We will talk about that very, very shortly. Very shortly. Well, that sounds like a good trip, and I look forward to seeing... you haven't posted any of those photos yet, or you have?
I have not posted any of the action... Well, I posted, like, a handful that I edited on my phone on, like... Saturday afternoon or something, or like Friday night, but it wasn't anything like serious.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought I saw a couple photos. There was one that was particularly good I was going to talk to you about. I don't have it handy, but it was like you were kind of like under and the guy was like taking a step and it looked like he was almost going to like land on you, but he was like going to land on like some kind of a, I don't know, hydrant or something. Like he was whatever.
That sounds stupid. No, you have a good memory because that's exactly what it was. I was shooting up on Julian and he was leaping, doing like a stride from a wall onto a fire hydrant. And so I caught the picture like right before he touched down on the fire hydrant, which like, because of the angle, you can't like really tell he's not touching it. It kind of sort of looks like he's just like balancing on the fire hydrant. But I took that and that was like a quick phone edit because I don't.
Okay.
I didn't have like editing software. I didn't take a computer or anything with me. So I just downloaded a few pictures on my phone and edited them. So.
That was a particularly good one. I thought that might have been from your new session, but I was going to follow up later, and I just did, and it was, and so there we go.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. I only have one more thing to talk about, and then if it's okay with you, why don't we just wrap it up and just get right into the main event, because I do have to have dinner prepared on a timeline tonight, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, I'm getting a little nervous, butterflies in my tummy. So maybe we should just wrap it up real quick, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I just didn't... just two quick shout-outs. I talked about Gravity Falls last episode. My son and I are 3 episodes away from the end. And I gotta say, it got really, really good. It started out as being kind of like super quirky, slightly annoying, weird kids cartoon. But it's morphed over time, over the course of 40 episodes, or, 36 episodes, or whatever we're up to now. It's got really good. There's a lot of really good touching moments. It got pretty heavy in a few parts. It's coming to the end, and it's gonna just like basically end the series. And like now that we've gotten through so much, it's basically the story of these 2 kids just staying for the summer at their uncle's house, their great uncle's house in Oregon. And so now that the summer's coming to an end, the story's coming to an end, and then that's just the end of the series in total, which I thought was a pretty nice way to wrap it up. And there's been a couple moments, dude. Like, I mean, I haven't cried or anything, but there's a few moments where I'm like, damn, that was... kind of got me the feels a little bit, like just a little bit right there. It's kind of sting a little bit. It's been pretty good. I'm going to look forward to finishing up the last 3 episodes. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Like, I can't even find the time to watch an hour's worth of television. But soon I will finish it up. And I got to say, I was pretty hesitant to start it. And even after the first couple episodes, I'm like, I don't know about this. But I'm really glad that I watched it, and it is really good. Not perfect in any way, but totally worth watching if you are into like an X-Files, kids summer camp, comedy, kind of cartoon, lighthearted sort of a thing. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Also, just a really quick shout out. Did we ever talk about drunk history on the show? We have, haven't we? Or have we not?
If we have, it's been so long that I don't remember.
Have you seen Drunk History before?
I know what it is, but I've never seen it.
I heard about it for a long time, and I'm like, that sounds fucking annoying, and I don't want to watch that. And then I came home, and my wife's like, oh, yeah, we watched, like, the first 3 seasons. And I'm like, what? I left for work, and you watched the first 3 seasons when I was gone? What is going on in this house? And so she's like, oh, it's really good. And I'm like, oh, sure it is. Yeah, okay. And I sit down, and yeah, sure enough, it's actually really funny. The thing that I like the most about it is shockingly educational. Like, even though I know some stuff about history, I'm not a historian, or by any means, but like they talk about shit I've literally like never heard of ever, and some of it is like just legit interesting, like things that have happened during the war, or like scientific advancements, or interesting twists about famous people that you never knew, and like or people you've never heard of and stuff. I mean, just like I actually learned like quite a bit from Drunk History. They do a good job of finding more than just the facts that everybody knows. Like, it's not just like George Washington crossing the Delaware and the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock and all that shit, you know, like the stuff you learn about in our totally white man's whitewashed education system. But they talk about a lot of other stuff. They talk about women and people of color and all sorts of things that you never hear about. So that's really cool. And it's also just fucking funny. Like, it's way funnier than I thought it would be, because I don't like to hang out with people who are drunk. I mean, I don't care if people drink. I don't drink myself at all, and I don't have a problem with it. Like, I'm not anti-alcohol or anything. But, like, I don't tend to be in places where people are just, like, shitty drunk and being weird, and, you know, it's not fun, right? But watching people on a TV screen trying to tell historical stories while they're falling down shitty drunk is actually a lot more fun than it sounds. So I do recommend this show. If you've never watched it, give it a shot. And it may not be appropriate for all families, but we watch it with my son, and god damn it, we learn so much interesting shit on the show. It is so funny. It is so funny. I mean, you got to put up with the swearing and the people falling over and burping, and there's puke and stuff. But other than that, it is really entertaining. And I mean, I can't think of another way to get my kid to sit down and absorb that much history in one go. Like, it's pretty painless to watch it. So shout out to Drunk History. Parents, please, parental guidance with that. Watch it yourself before you watch it with your kids. Use your best judgment. Not a good fit for all kids. It fits for my kid, maybe not for yours. But overall, funny as fuck and super educational, and I do like it.
Good.
And that's it. All right. Anything else on your end of things?
Nothing I can't save for the next episode.
All right, cool. Let's dive into it. We got a lot of games to talk about. I'm really looking forward to talking about the stuff we have on the show. People listening, you've already heard it, so I guess you got to enjoy it before I did, because we're caught in the time loop. But let's talk about it now. Let's create that paradox, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.